In 1892, when William Ferguson first walked the halls of the Michigan House of Representatives, his colleagues likely thought that it was a fluke,
an anomaly.
But they were wrong. What they were witnessing was the tip of a spear,
shattering a barrier and setting in motion a chain reaction that has rippled through the centuries.
Ferguson may have been the first, but it would not be the last.
Over the next half a century, our numbers, influence, and impact grew and grew.
My question to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, as an African American, as a black man, when can I protest? When can I speak out? When can I show frustration and anger? When I march, you condemn me. When I talk on the internet, you condemn me. When I say it on television, you condemn me. Anywhere in the public square where black people talk about this, it just basically say a simple affirmation that black lives matter, that our lives have value. We are constantly ridiculed and criticized. When is the appropriate time? I would think the fact that it was an African American named Crispus Attucks who was the first sacrifice in what was the start of the Revolutionary War, that in every single conflict this country has ever had, black people have fought in it and fought with honor and valor, only to come home to discrimination and subjugation and oppression. I would think if anyone had the right to speak out against the injustices of America, it is black folks, because they have shed blood, sweat, tears, and toil for it.
Make no mistake, we don't plan on stopping.
We hail from Michigan's first capital, and our current one, from all corners of our state.
Black history isn't just about Charlene White, the first black woman to take the oath of office in the Michigan House.
Or Matthew McNeely, the first black representative to serve in House leadership.
Or the countless others whose footsteps we follow toward progress and opportunity in the People's House.
We are making history
Every single day.
Every single day.
We heed the responsibility of carrying the legacy of those who came before us, and are committed to blazing a trail for generations of black Michiganders long after we're gone.
We are change makers, groundbreakers,
torchbearers.
We are a force to be reckoned with.
Although relegated to a single calendar month, Black history transcends far beyond the confines of February.
Celebrating our blackness every day of the year is a form of our resistance
against centuries of trauma and systems designed from their very outset to keep us down.
To not challenge the status quo.
But if you're going to take the money out of the pockets of the people who put us here, and if you're going to do that, and if you're going to support this legislation, and when this vote goes up and you're going to vote green, then why don't you take some money out of your pocket? Cut your pay. How about that? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Step up to the plate. Cut your pay while you're cutting their pay. Be men and women about it. Don't be scared. If you're going to cut their pay and make their jobs and make their lives a little more difficult, then make yours. So everybody voting yes and supporting this legislation, put up some money, cut your pay.
To accept that we're seen as inherently criminal or deviant solely for the color of our skin.
To sit idly by and watch our communities consistently get overlooked for economic opportunity and investment.
I am an African American legislator who represents the city of Detroit. That's the largest African American population in the country, by the way. So when it comes to minority contracting, I don't think I need a lecture on what it means to be a minority. I don't need a lecture on racism. I don't need a lecture on what minority contractors say, because they are in my district. That's who I represent. It was said earlier by a good representative from the 98th district who talked about minority contracting, and I hear this suggested that Jim Crow was the reason that prevailing wage came into existence. But it's so ironic that back in 2014, Republicans voted to eliminate affirmative action for contractors. I don't get it. I don't get it.
to look the other way when entire cities are poisoned in service to a bottom line.
The city of Flint and its residents are strong. There's no denying that. But the people of Flint need our help now. As the nation bore witness to what happened and the tragedies that happened inside the city of Flint, they should also bear witness to this body stepping up and helping them. Right now, today, Mr. Speaker, I'm asking my colleagues to approve this desperately needed amendment for the small amount of money compared to our overall budget to continue to protect those in our community, the disabled, the sick, the elderly, our children. We are duty-bound as a body of legislators to protect those who need our help. Let the world bear witness to what we do here today.
And to sit on our hands as our public schools struggle to provide the access and quality of resources our students need to get ahead in life.
We continue to do layer upon layer upon layer, and then out of all these speeches that I hear people leaving with farewell, patting themselves on the back, we should be ashamed of ourselves because we've done nothing to improve the conditions for our children. We pay for report after report after report, only to ignore the data in the report. This is a failed model, and we know that. Those of us with educational competency know that it's a failed model. But after waterboarding for hours, you change the will and the mind of a person that know they are violating their values against Michigan children, not just Detroit, now all Michigan children.
But beneath each of these forces are real people fighting day in and day out to stare injustice in the face.
Speaking truth to power and demanding to have the value of our existence and contributions recognized.
Because the promises of freedom, liberty, and equality still apply to us, and the power to make our state and country live up to those promises.
As the voice of our people in government, we are standing up and taking action with every piece of legislation we introduce. Advocate for it and get past the finish line to take us all that much closer to an equal shot at success.
I rise today to support my amendment that will restore important funding for 2 outstanding computer engineering programs in the city of Detroit and Grand Rapids. Both programs are very much committed to the goal of exposing young students to the field of engineering, computer science, and medicine. I am proud to say that I am one of the many alumni from the DAPSEL program in Detroit. I know firsthand how important these programs are to preparing kids in Detroit and Grand Rapids for careers in science, technology, engineering, and math. These programs expose students to all types of possibilities and, more importantly, allow our kids to dream. These are the type of organizations that we as a legislature must support and stand with if we are serious about providing an opportunity for preparing all kids for success regardless of their zip codes.
We have a lot to be proud of in the work that we've accomplished together thus far.
From ushering in unprecedented reform of our juvenile justice system through Raise the Age legislation,
fighting to bring our expungement and policing practices into the 21st century,
strengthening opportunities for Black entrepreneurs and small business owners,
and leveling the playing field through legislative solutions with equity in mind.
Because there is a difference between equality and equity.
Equality assumes we are all starting the relay race from the same position on the starting line.
Equity, on the other hand, recognizes that for Black folks, our starting point is yards behind, where our white counterparts begin.
And so I stand in support of this on behalf of all of those who have served their time, who now just want to live an honest, good life, who want to return as productive citizens and add to the economy, provide for their families, and stand in dignity.
You know what's more important than a balanced budget in Flint, in Detroit, in Pontiac, and yes, Mr. Pashoka, in Ben Harbor? You know what's more important? A robust democracy. a healthy democracy, a participatory democracy, a representative democracy, a democracy that thrives and lives. And you tell me that you send in an emergency manager and that democracy is alive and well? I think not.
We're still playing catch up to those who had the privilege of starting closer to the finish line.
But we still beat on, carrying the heaviness of those who came before us, and trying to lighten the load for those we ourselves are passing the baton to next.
Black history is more than any one individual. It's the continuous forward momentum as we collectively sprint toward the finish line.
Towards a day that we can shift from equity and equality to that of liberation.
We each have a part to play in this, and our strength and resiliency comes from a belief in a better tomorrow. Hoping and trusting that the actions we take today make a difference in shaping the future.
Just like those who have done so before us.
But we can't do it alone. We have to come together as a community, speak together in one voice, and say,
we matter.
We matter. We matter.
We are not expendable. We are not to be discarded or ignored.
We are vital, irreplaceable.
And when the Constitution says we the people, we are the people.
So now we're asking you, yes you, are you ready to join us?
Because history making isn't a spectator sport. So lace up, gear up, and let's hit the ground running.
You may fail many times before you succeed, but that doesn't matter. We've all been there. Get back up, get moving, and remember,
you are not alone. We are all in this together.
Our American story may have started over 400 years ago, but it is far from over. Black history is today.